It was just after midnight in Myanmar when the ground gave way to chaos. No warning, no mercy, just a monstrous, gut-wrenching shake that jolted the nation awake, followed by screams, crashing walls, and sirens piercing the darkness. March 28, 2025. A 7.7 magnitude earthquake ripped through central Myanmar, and within minutes, entire towns were unrecognizable. The kind of destruction you can't really process until you're standing in front of what used to be a home, and now it's a pile of dust and twisted rebar. More than 150 people are confirmed dead so far, and over 700 have been injured. And this isn't some slow, creeping toll. This is happening fast. The death count could double in a heartbeat. The epicenter? Right near Mandalay, a densely populated area smack in the middle of the country. And because the quake struck just 10 kilometers below the surface, it hit with full force. It wasn't a gentle sway. It was violent, jarring, and relentless. Buildings crumbled in seconds. People were trapped inside homes, schools, and even hospitals. Roads split open. Temples, some of them centuries old, toppled like dominoes. This wasn't just a modern tragedy. It was a cultural gut punch. But let's take a step back. Myanmar sits on the Sagaing Fault Line, an infamously volatile tectonic plate boundary that's been restless for centuries. Seismologists have been warning about a big one for years. And well, here it is. The quake didn't stop at Myanmar's borders. Tremors were felt as far as Thailand, Bangladesh, India, and even parts of China. In Bangkok, a high-rise under construction collapsed, killing at least a few workers and injuring many more. People panicked, buildings were evacuated, and suddenly, the whole region was reminded just how powerless we all are when the earth decides to stretch its legs. But this is Myanmar, remember, which means this disaster didn't strike a nation that was fully equipped to handle it. Far from it. Myanmar has been in political turmoil since the 2021 military coup. There are rebel groups fighting for autonomy, internet blackouts, media censorship, human rights violations. And now, this? The word overwhelmed doesn't even scratch the surface. And because the government is so entangled in its own corruption, there's real concern that humanitarian aid might not reach the people who need it most. The military leadership has a long, gross history of hoarding resources and silencing critics. International aid organizations are already reporting red tape, slow communication, and difficulty getting into some of the hardest-hit zones. Meanwhile, everyday people are trying to survive with no power, no clean water, and little to no access to medical care. And that's before we even talk about aftershocks. Dozens of them have already hit. Some strong enough to knock over weakened buildings and further delay rescue efforts. As the dust settles, literally and figuratively, what's left is a nation brought to its knees. And the world, as always, has a choice: to forget or to pay attention. Because this isn't just a foreign disaster, this is a warning. Fault lines don't care about borders, earthquakes don't care about GDPs. This could have been San Francisco or Tokyo or Mexico City, anywhere. First, stay informed. Don't let stories like this disappear after a single headline. Second, donate, but do it smart. Vet the organization. Make sure the money goes to legitimate aid efforts and not some shady slush fund. Reputable groups like the Red Cross, Direct Relief, and Médecins Sans Frontières are already mobilizing. And finally, prep your own home. This isn't fear-mongering, it's just common sense. Earthquakes strike without warning. If you live anywhere near a fault line, having an emergency kit, knowing how to shut off your gas, and having a plan with your family can save your life. We'll keep following the story and updating you as things unfold. But for now, keep Myanmar in your thoughts. And don't forget that behind the statistics are real people, families grieving, communities in shock, and survivors just trying to get through the next hour. Because when the Earth moves like that, everything changes.